Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the We're So Young podcast. My name is Diana, and today I am here with Tammy Green. She is one of the top talent agents in South Florida. She's also a blogger. Tell me about yourself, Tammy.
As I take a sip of a glass of wine, 2014 Wendling from a recent trip that I took to Sonoma.
Ooh, it's delicious, actually.
Yeah, it's actually really delicious, right? I don't know. Is this the drunken podcast? What's it? Drunk current times.
Right.
Well, as Diana said, I've been an agent for a lot of years, and I'm very excited about the career that I've had. Not only do I enjoy it, but I find that as the years go by, I'm changing along with the clients that I'm representing. To me, it is a life experience. It's a journey that I'm sharing with my clients, and it is hardly a job. It's a pleasure.
So how did you get started? Tell me a little bit about your life. Where did you grow up?
I grew up on Long Island in a town called Oceanside, and it's on the South Shore. Very, working class neighborhood there. And I went to college at George Washington University for 2 years, and finished up my last 2 years at the University of Miami in the film school, which was then known as the Shacks. Far cry from where it is now, but it's a good bunch of people. My graduating class has a lot of special people from GW as well, actually. It's super interesting to look at it and see what my years have to offer. They're all players. It's good.
So once you came to did you just decide you wanted to stay in Miami from there, or did you go somewhere else?
I graduated from and immediately left and went back to New York and worked on feature films in production as production coordinator, mostly going on location for the project. And the one of them, which everybody always goes, really, you worked on that, was Dirty Dancing. So, oh yeah. My God.
It's one of my favorite movies, like with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah,
like that the real Dirty Dancing.
The real Dirty Dancing.
Stop it! You don't understand. That's literally one of my favorite movies. I did not know that about you.
There you go. It was the last film that I worked on before I relocated back to Miami. Not an easy film. It's so interesting to me when I see how many followers that film actually has, and the love that film has, because it was
a classic.
It was a hard project to work on. It had a lot of challenges attached to it, but I imagine that it's not unlike a lot of film projects that do have those huge challenges. But in the long run, I mean, Dirty Dancing is kind of a legacy film, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So did you scout the location? Is that?
No, I was the production office coordinator's assistant.
Okay.
So this was the beginning of my career, and it was my job to make sure that certain things moved along well. For example, I mean, not glamorous at all, my position on that film, like when everybody's luggage got lost, I had to find it. And when Patrick Swayze's poodles need to be walked, I had to walk them. That was my job.
It's funny because I think a lot of the people that listen to the podcast are in the industry, but also a big portion of the people are not. And people just have such a glamorized view of what our industry is. And, there's so many moving parts to film, to TV, to theater. There's so many people. There's so many little, it's an ant farm, of people doing this to make this one project work, and there aren't a lot of glamorous moments. Even as actors, I think that there's.
No, I think that I would agree with you there. I think that the business, what shows up on the screen and what shows up at the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes, and really is the finished project without showing what the real bloopers are when something happens. And it is a business that is a sweat business. It is a hard work business, and I would love to see more examples of what it really takes to have a successful production, because that's always the buried part, which you don't see. What you see is that glamorous, final production or something that looks seamless. And the truth about it is that it is so far from seamless. Okay. It is, so much about doing it again and doing it again, and everything that can go wrong does go wrong, and everything that needs to be finger pointed because you were not the one to blame, is the one to blame. So I think it's a super tough business to be in, and I think that for some reason it's I like to call it a kind of a junky business, and I don't mean junky in the sense of like trash. I mean, it's like you're always going, you can't stop once you start doing it. There's something about it where you're dragged into that pool and you stay in it, because the next one is just going to be even better, and the next one is going to be better, and the stories that you tell are amazing. And people are always like, really, that happened? And you're like, yeah, that kind of happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, like the magic that can be created from it, that you don't see. It is magic, it's like the audience is seeing one thing, but the left hand is doing something else, and it's like what it takes to create this piece of art. So can you talk about a time that something went totally wrong as in that role? Maybe not necessarily for
with Dirty Dancing,
or doesn't necessarily have to be Dirty Dancing, but with that job title.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the question of what goes wrong, my gosh, I have a huge list of the what goes wrong. In my current role today, I mean, that is really a fantastic question, if it's all right with you, if I, talk about something that I'm working on actively and really excited about, and it's a book.
Oh,
I know, right? I'm writing a book.
That's exciting.
It's called The Fame Strategy. It's a series of short stories about how I got into the business, and then the things that have happened to me during the course of being an agent. For example, one of the things that I do is I have a file that I save, which is called What Were You Thinking? And that one is about, it's just submissions where people tell me how badly they want to be in the business, and then they send me pictures of them doing all sorts of things, sometimes ridiculously compromising pictures. And I'm just like, really? What were you thinking? Like, do you really think that was something that's going to get you into the business, and how is that one going to work? And so I've saved all those pictures, and in my brain, I have this television show that I want to do, which is called What Were You Thinking? Where we take these people and we say, okay, you're on. We are going to actually make that dream come true. We're going to send a driver. We're going to pick you up, and we're going to give you that opportunity to be that fashion model that you think you can be, or that body part, or that telenovela star that you think you can be. So that's going to be a story, and a little part of it. And another part of the book is how I really start every day with something called the morning Zimmer. And I'm going to admit it to you, okay? Don't share it, or yeah, share it. How I follow and stalk one of the most important agents in the business, whose name is Jeremy Zimmer. And I actually stalk him and follow him on any media posts that he makes, because I think he's like amazing. And so I have in my brain an idea that he also knows who I am. So one of the stories that I'm writing about is, what would it be like if I actually thought I met him, and the fact that he doesn't have any idea who I am in that process. And another exciting chapter that's coming up is I am the agent for an actress who's hosting the AVN Awards in Las Vegas. And for those of you who don't know what the AVN Awards are, it's like the porn awards for, it's the Porn Academy Awards. So I'm flying out to Vegas this coming week, and no, in 2 weeks, to be there as her agent. And I just cannot even imagine, it's like, so my dream is to have a client who's on the Academy Awards, but the best I've got going is the host, the Sandra Oh, Andy Samberg of the Porn Awards.
Oh I'm going to call you. I want to know how that goes.
I'm just excited about the goodie bag, I mean, could you imagine, like, okay, hello.
Oh, man. I didn't even think of that. How fun. Well, I worked on the cruise, and on the cruise, the last voyage that I did on tour was a swingers cruise. And so there was this swingers charter that, like, bought off the entire ship.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to be on certain floors, and as they brought their own entertainers, they brought their whole crew. We were just like, we just lived on the ship, and we couldn't go on certain floors and things, and it was just, we had to do our normal crew drill kind of thing, like a safety drill, and even entertainers have to do that for the guests. And we're doing it, and everybody's in like pasties and thongs, and we're just like, okay, and you put on your life vest like this.
So I'll lose your pasties on that.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't imagine. That sounds like so fun.
I will absolutely follow up and let you know. Yeah, that works. I just, I laughed to myself because I think, I've been doing this for so many years, right? And it's like my dream is always like for somebody to stand up at stage and say, I'd like to thank my mom, and kids go to sleep, and my agent, Tammy Green, right? In the meantime, that's just not happening, okay? I've got like, and the award for best, girl on girl, and I'd like to thank my agent, Tammy Green.
It's baby steps, It's baby steps.
Yeah, right.
No, the book sounds super exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, one of the things that I do like to do is I feel like as an agent, I'm a platform agent. I'm somebody who is a great place to get to the next step in your career. Like, I like to think of myself as somebody who says, all right, let's get all of these credits, these guest star, these co-star, and let's try our best to make that work so that then that pushes to going into the next step of the industry. I mean, as you know, it's a changing industry, and more than ever, in the past 30 seconds, things have changed dramatically.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing I admire you as an agent is just, like, you're just so... it's family, like you open up your office for, it's a home for people to come in and just kind of share and just,
it's a home for wayward actors right now.
Yeah. Well, I've shared to you really personal things about my life that I don't normally share with anybody, and it's like that's something that, I think is so important to have a camaraderie and a real friendship, because we're working with each other, and I think that's so important.
What always surprises me is that I know that when you're acting, it involves a great deal of vulnerability. It really does. It's like, slice yourself open and bleed for the part that you're auditioning for, because that's when that success happens, when you get to the point where you can really be 100% truthful about what you're doing. And a lot of people think of this as a second career or as a hobby, and then there are those people that bleed for it. What interests me is the people that really open themselves up to the opportunity that this is the journey that they can move forward on. And that is what matters to me, when somebody cares about it as much as I care about it, because I do care about it. I think about it. I pretty much want to say I think about it 24/7. Like when my
Right.
clients aren't happy or I have a situation going on with somebody, I take it really personally and I want to know, it's like, what is it that I didn't do to make their journey move forward? And then I find out, it has nothing to do with me in the bigger picture. So, I'm glad that you say that. It really just feels very special and empowering to hear that we make you feel like you're part of family. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, the another, like, I'm not going to harp on the fame stories because it's not even written yet, but but I am, because I want to tell you, like, one of the things that's going in there is breakups, because I have also saved these horrifying letters and breakup emails that I've gotten from actors, telling me why they never want to see me breathing on the planet again. And I save them because there's, just something Jewish sadomasochism going on. I mean, but I think that, there's something to be said about that, just where you save that moment where someone tells you, you're like the worst. And I don't know why. Do you save bad reviews ever? Do you look at them?
I do look at reviews. I think I've only really gotten like one bad review, but it was as a counter to a really good review that I got. So I put them next to each other and I'm like, oh, what could I learn from this? But yeah, I mean, I definitely have a few breakup emails in my inbox. I'm like, yep, this is a nice reminder to never go back to this person.
It's kind of interesting, because I try to use breakups as lessons.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing that I think about with these breakup situations is, we're in a people business.
Yeah.
Right? And so ego is a huge, huge part of what we do, right? I mean, so when people say, oh my gosh, what you do must be so fun. And I was like, yeah, well, it's fun, but there's this whole other element to it. So we're working with people that deal with rejection.
Yeah.
Way, way, way more than they deal with success. And when I'm not able to help them along the way on their journey for countless reasons, and it doesn't work out, I'm the bad guy. You got to come up with a reason why it doesn't work. And wow, it's so easy to just blame your sales team or your agent.
Really? I don't see it that way, actually.
That's so great.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've always been like a person who's just like self-sabotage, but like, and I think
self-flagellation.
Yeah, I think a big part of it probably comes from me doing it since I was little.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see that at all. I think, if you don't book something, it has to do with you, but it also has, not like you as in the actor, not you as an agent. But it also has to do with like what the production people want. And I think that that's something that I've been working on specifically in the last 5 years, because there's a lot of roles that I'm like, I know I did a great job. I know that I went in and I gave everything, and obviously there's some castings where you're just like, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling that. But there's definitely, at least for me, more often than not, I'm like, I know that I like put in 100%, but it could really be as simple as like, yeah, well, my hair was too long, or and so I don't think I've ever blamed my agent for not getting anything.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that,
well,
because
as I say, we're not worthy, but they
no, because like there's so many, that goes back to the ant farm. Like there's so many factors that go into it, and that's something that the people that aren't in the industry know, like there's so many things that go into auditions and castings and all these things that, like, at the end of the day, it's like if they don't like you, it probably has nothing to do with I got told when I was 13, we're going to go straight in there, but I got told when I was 13, I was doing soap operas at the time, and I didn't get a role. And the director said, "You are more talented than that person, but you are one hamburger away from being a cow." And I'm 13, and I've never been overweight or anything. Like, you tell a 13-year-old that, and that, like, messes with you. And so I spent a lot of my formative years really believing that, and then the, like, last 5, in my 20s, I've really just tried to reshape that in my head, and just, and the idea of blaming, I don't know if it's not healthy for an actor to blame anybody, you know what I mean? Don't blame yourself, don't blame your agent, like, because at the end of the day, we're both agent, actor, we're trying to help each other. It's an idea of teamwork, it's a team, so it's as much on you, it's, if not more, it's more on you as the actor than the agent.
Well, and also, I think we need to think about the fact that when an actor is choosing their representation and their publicist and their manager, if they're having a team with all of those elements, I think that the actor needs to be very, very clear that they are building their team. These are the sales team. These are the people that are working for the actor. It's not the agent that's working for the actor. It's the it's not the actor that's working for the agent. It's the agent that's working for the actor. You're putting together your business team. Right. So I love the example that if you had a product, you had widgets, right, and you invented the greatest widget ever, and then you have just a real crappy sales team selling that widget, it's not going to go, right? So when an actor is choosing the people that need to be on their team to be making this product, the actor, a success, that's kind of on the actor. I mean, it's like a group of people that are coming together to make this thing work. And one of the elements of an agent's job, one of the hardest and most important, is to make sure that very fragile ego, taking it back to something we were talking about 15 minutes ago, of when an actor bears their naked underbelly, right, to the world, you have to, as an agent, make sure that fragile soul is protected and be able to take that hit for the team. That's what a fabulous agent should be willing to do, because that's what makes it work.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think to close that circle of conversation, it's the actor looking for people that have the same shared sensibility and that same risk tolerance.
Yeah.
To make it go ahead and work, and to be able to say, you know what, I didn't like the way that worked out, but lesson learned, let's move ahead and let's make it better doing it this way.
Right.
And that, I believe, will lead to a super successful career for an actor. I'm not going to fool myself. I'm not right for everybody. I'm not right for most people. But when I find a combination, where we're all like super happy about it, my gosh, that's like the greatest thing ever.
Right. How did you go from working on the Dirty Dancing set to running an agency?
Well, I was unemployed after Dirty Dancing. I was like, okay, now I gotta find something to do.
And you came to Miami.
And I came to Miami because my folks lived in Miami and my sister lived in Miami, and my sister had a small agency and she was putting extras on Miami Vice and Police Academy and Porky's. That was a whole time in the 80s in Miami when there was a lot of production going on down here. And so we were, so she says, yeah, come on, let's work together. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'll do that for a little while, and I built a life here and had some kids here, and and then I like to say, like, in spite of me, the agency just grew, into something that is way more focused on individual actors. And
So I didn't realize, I knew that you guys have been around for a really long time, but I mean, I just didn't realize how long it had been.
yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about the way that like you've changed as an agent from then to now?
Well, I had the agency itself has undergone several changes. I mean, it's been 12 agents and now it's 4 agents. So it's gone, from super big to, or not super big, like medium big, little, or from little big to a smaller agency with a smaller clientele. But I think
that's
that
great, though.
Yeah,
I love the girls. I'm like,
they're so
yeah.
fun. They're really good. I'm really blessed to have like a super good team with me. But the days of having walls filled with headshots, right, where you walked into an agency and you saw everything physically on the wall, and headshots with resumes attached, and phone calls were made all day long and the phones were constantly ringing and you were constantly talking about it, to now a very different kind of business, which is primarily electronic, where I try to have as little paper as possible.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing for beginning actors, or for actors that are really just springing off of a good platform now, is that the sale needs to be based on the materials that the electronic materials, an electronic press kit, and what does your reel look like, things that I can send electronically, as opposed to picking up the telephone and talking about an actor. So presentations, I'm competing on a global scale,
Right.
as opposed to competing on a national scale or even a regional scale right now, because traveling somebody is the least of our worries. And so it's such an incredible business. Now, on the flip side of that, I think that there are way more opportunities that are available for actors, the venues that are available, with all of these companies that are doing now web shows, and I mean, that's fantastic. My gosh, I think that when I get a call from, for example, a brand that's doing a movie, that's fantastic, because it used to be, it was either a network or a film studio that was doing a production, and now you have brands that are doing productions. Right. Or you have a company like Hallmark, which does tons and tons and tons of productions that are not only a they've got a network, right? And Amazon has a network, and everybody's got a network. Oprah's got a network, and Oprah's got a killer everything, but Oprah's got a killer network. So when I deal with a company now, like, I always keep in the back of my mind, is that company ready to launch, or at what point is that company ready to launch their own set of film programs and series? Now, the interesting part about that is, along with these opening markets, the rates of what an actor earns and the contracts that are put forward are radically different. So is it, it's a hard thing for an agency to look at a ultra low budget project, which may be the next biggest thing ever, like the big giant question of what is the project about,
Right.
and where does that hit you in your heart, there are certain, let's just talk about the Golden Globes for a minute. There are some films there. Roma was, did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you just weep
I sobbed watching Roma. It's magic.
Yeah, no, it's
magic.
totally magic. And I think about after I saw the film and watched the success on the Golden Globes, my thought was, if that had landed on my desk, how would I have attacked it? Is it a project that I would have said, oh my gosh, this one is brilliant and I'm going to do whatever I can to get some performers on there? Or would I have said, wow, I don't know,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it
so
just doesn't
subjective.
have it doesn't have a payoff. And those are really tricky situations to come up to because, I always think about, am I doing right by my artists, my actors, right? So if there was something that was amazing on my desk and I took a pass on it and then it ended up being, the darling of the Golden Globes, I'd be like killing myself. And not to mention, like, my actors would all be just, my phone would be blowing up. That's the interesting part, and that takes me back to the partnership
Right.
between the actor and the agent and what that relationship is, because every person that I represent, that I am excited about representing, has a very specific menu, a very specific set of dreams and hopes and sensibilities, projects that hit them.
Yeah.
And when an actor comes to me and says, I saw this and this is it for me, let's go there. If I see that passion as well, that's really exciting. And then when, oh my gosh, when that actually happens, and the fireworks go off and everybody's like, oh my God, and yay, and yes, and it works. That's like, wizardry at its finest. Let's talk about wizardry for a minute.
So tell me a little bit about how this business, for lack of a better word, because it's like such a beautiful part of you, how that like affects your personal life.
I think that it how does it affect my personal life? I'm like the best guest at any dinner party. Because I have loads and loads of wonderful stories to tell and things that people go, oh my God, really? You did that? Or, oh my God, that really happened? That's always fun. It's for me, it's a full-time, 24/7 situation. I want the listeners to understand that I'm the kind of person that wakes up in the middle of the night, can't fall back asleep, and decides to look at Breakdown, and see what's going on there. And sometimes I've had really successful connections because people go, oh my gosh, you're really focused and you're really dedicated at 3 a.m. I don't know, I'm really kind of an insomniac, but it's a life commitment.
Yeah.
It's, as I said, it's like that, it's that junkie mentality business of, okay, everything failed this entire year, but that next one is right around the corner, and I'm just going to keep on going. I think that when somebody looks for an agent, they really need to look for somebody that's always thinking like, I can't stop doing this. And I mean, a lot of us probably should, but we can't.
No, but that's what makes the good team, because I feel like if you want this from an actor's perspective, you want someone who's equally as driven as you to want to succeed. You want someone in your corner that is like pushing you in the like positive right direction, so I think that's great.
Yeah. I mean, and, equally so, as I said, I mean, it really, truly is when something doesn't happen, I've had to learn how to deal with the heartbreak of it. Actors sometimes think that, oh, they didn't get it and they're so upset and, this didn't happen and they were so perfect and it was so right and everything should have happened. but their team also feels that really deeply. Did they not do enough, or why didn't it work? Or if I was, I mean, gosh, if I was Jeremy Zimmer's wife, right? My favorite agent ever. Would it have happened, if I was in LA, or if I had this
Yeah.
whole, you do a lot of that if I was, or I do a lot of that if I was, and that needs to, I think, be tempered sometimes, because I realize that a lot of it is out of my control.
Yeah. What's something that you feel like you do when things are getting difficult? When like you've gone through like a life transition, or just you've had just maybe it's a hard year, especially in this industry, and especially being in Florida. I think it's such a huge factor to our industry, and where we are right now. But like, what's something that like when you felt that like things are not going right, how do you find that you shift yourself into a better place?
I It's funny because I go back to time and time again a bit of a spiritual practice, with meditation and with some mindfulness, and reading some books that are geared towards looking for love and kindness and self-worth. I do that, and I take time out most days to really just meditate and do some yoga practice, and really try to stop the train of crazy thoughts going that can happen, and just to really quiet and to work on it. Another thing that I think about is how to translate the business that we're doing into a bit of a business that's making an impact, a positive impact on the future of what the world is going to look like. I think about that a lot too, and try to connect with people that are also practicing mindfulness and kindness. That matters. That
Yeah.
really does come into play on a daily basis for me, on trying to say, have I been the kindest person that I can be during my day and during my practice, not only mindfulness practice, but my practice as an agent? Am I listening well? Am I responding well? Are the emails that I'm sending out have a genuine tone to them during my my day as a human?
Have you ever had a moment where you just kind of were like, what am I doing? I need to change careers. Like, this is it. I can't do this anymore. Why did I choose this? Can you talk about a moment that like you felt that and you were just like,
Sure, absolutely. That actually happened to me yesterday when somebody posted something on one of the social media sites, and said that they wouldn't recommend me to a groundhog. And I was like, oh my God, like a groundhog? Really? I mean, have I gotten to
that's
that
horrible.
point?
And
it was
so mean.
That's so mean, right? That is so mean.
And yeah, it's
And I thought, has this career of mine, has this career that has spanned 29 years of this, resulted in that? And so, yeah, I mean, you look at it all the time. I think that people who care about the impact that they leave really need to, to think about stuff like that.
yeah.
But, and so then I thought, all right, I got to do an encore career. I've got to do something else. I've got to be a Walmart greeter. I mean, there's got to be a million things that I can do that's not it. Or maybe I just need to like wash my hands of this whole thing and just stop completely. And then somebody like you, comes into my life, and I'm like, you know what? I love this, and I'm really, I'm excited, and it erases the bad,
That's
taste.
such an interesting thing that someone would have posted, just because, I don't know. I just feel like growing up, like you were taught, like, you're nice to everybody. You're nice to, like, you have no idea, especially in this industry, like, how the tables can turn on you so quickly, like, ooh, that poor guy or girl or whoever that was.
Well, that's what my personal practice has taught me, that I have to like flip the card, right? And say that individual is really suffering and struggling with what their day looks like. And I don't want to invite that into my home. I don't want to invite that into my brain. As agents, we're constantly, we are bombarded with, okay, it's a no, and share that with your people, and you got to figure out how to look at all of those no's and then that one yes, and celebrate that one yes rather than celebrating the no's that are going on.
That's so hard.
It's so hard. It is really, really, really hard.
Yeah, I read in an article somewhere that like it takes, I don't remember the exact number, but they had like a scale. It takes like 7 positives to eject a negative or something when something bad happens in your life. And I need to fact check it, and I'll probably post it on the blog of the website. But yeah, it was this article about how like when one negative thing, it needs to be counteracted by like 6 positive things or 7 positive things for you to get your brain off of it. And so I think that that's so interesting, because that's just what this industry is for us. It's just, it is a constant no. It's funny, I was talking to someone, and I was talking about how I was like, yeah, I didn't get that audition. And they were like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, thank you, but I can't think of it like that. Like, I just got to think, okay, well, what's the next one? Like, when's the next one coming? And because if you sulk in the negative, then how are you going to get better, So that's interesting. So, okay, so if you could tell the Tammy that was working on the Dirty Dancing set, just because I'm still not over it. If you could tell the Tammy that was working at the Dirty Dancing set some advice about the years to come, what would you tell her?
I would tell Tammy on the Dirty Dancing locations that to really keep a positive attitude, to just enjoy that day and look for what is the good about what's happening there, and to pause and be so grateful for the experiences that I'm currently having. One thing that I think about so often is that life goes by so fast. It's like a blink, and then you're in the midsection of your career, and then you blink again and you're at the at the I don't want to say the end, but like towards the end of your career. And it just happens so fast that to pause every day and say, wow, I am so blessed to be a part of this.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell the Dirty Dancing Tammy, because I think I was focusing a lot on what's the next thing, and why isn't this working out right, and how can I make this better, and you don't pause to think about the actual fantastically amazing blessing it is to be in a creative community.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something that anybody can really stop and focus on, because I think that's part of what keeps you young and keeps you energized, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think that the brain of this is a good conversation. Do you think that the brain of a creative is different than the brain of other people? I totally do.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, because I think we're forced to see life in a different way, that when we are able to be present, it's just so exhilarating. When you're able to be present in the moment and be grateful and be just sitting in a room and just be like, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm supposed to be talking here with you and having wine, and like it feels nice. And like, because I think as with us in our career, we're so focused on the next big thing that it's so nice to just take a step back and slow down and be like, no, you're doing it. You're right here. You're where you're supposed to be. And if you live in the present, then you are able to look into the future in a clear way.
Well, the process.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is so great. It's so great. And the process is I wish we could all get paid for the process. Like, that'd be so cool, right? Like, hey, I'm going to be an actor, and I'm going to be paid for like the experience of the journey of being an actor.
Definitely not in Florida, but
well, not in anywhere, on the planet. But that is so awesome, because here you are learning lines or becoming a Viking, or like any hey, did you know, just an aside, okay, that it is illegal to have a Viking funeral?
No, I didn't.
There you go. That was something that somebody sent me today, and I was like, an actor sent me an article. I was like, seriously, this is super interesting, so again, I was like, all right, this is what is in that actor's brain.
Right.
And I'm kind of like jazzed about that comment, because I'm like, why is he sharing this with me? Followed by P.S. This show is casting and I'm totally like onto it. And I was like, I love my life. Okay, I love my life, because I will then share that conversation and have it. And I'm like, all right, that's so cool.
How do you submit an actor for the drunk girl? You know what I mean? Or do you submit an actor for because I know that we've had this conversation privately, but I guess we'll talk about it on the podcast.
While we're drinking some wine.
Yeah. The idea of like, I think I got, they didn't tell me about this casting that I had to be topless. And I am a, it's like, if it works for the role, and the role is like, I better be Emily Blunt, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do that for myself, And also just like, I don't want to be drunk girl who shows her boobs in a movie. That's not my brand. That's not what I'm trying. That's not how I'm trying to
I love
further
it
my
that
career.
you use the word brand. I think that actors need to be very, very conscious of what their brand is and what their boundaries are as well when they're designing their brand.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really the huge question that needs to be answered. And I don't think that any agent, in fact, I know that no agent can answer that question.
Yeah.
I think that is an actor's obligation as to what is their brand. Okay, what is their brand? Because the acting is skills. Okay, that's things that you know how to do once you get on set, right?
Yeah.
But the actual brand of it, is like they want you there with the person that's
Right.
going to be doing this thing and then be able to do that thing as well.
Yeah.
That's what I know is true about the business,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we over forever, actors are the person, and then you adjust them to do the role.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, the idea of, hey, agent, pitch me for Handmaid's Tale, or hey, agent, pitch me for Notebook type film, or I mean, I whatever it's going to be. I think that the actor needs to be really clear on, can they deliver?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a huge thing. That is huge. And then all those other stars have to go in alignment as well. But if I know where to start, and I know where, hey, this is what this, hey, Tammy, these are the things that I want to do. I mean, that to me makes what I do really interesting. Can I close the deal?
Right.
Can I get them in front? And it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think people don't, growing up, my family, I'm the only person in my family who does this, and it's like, it's every holiday party. They're like, why are you not in a movie? And I'm like, actually, I have been in movies. You just haven't seen them, It's like, it's one of those, like, people don't understand that it's like, it's a really competitive and difficult industry in every aspect, and it's seeing that and being like, well, I understand that this is competitive, but I know that I can deliver this, and it's being confident in knowing what you can and cannot do.
Right. I think that you're the type of artist that would immerse themselves in whatever role it was that was presented to you, and then a bit of a what's it called when an actor is just lives, breathes, and
Meta, yeah.
A method actor.
Yeah. Do you find that people who grew up doing like theater, that works a lot on the process of finding these characters on like a very intimate like method, not necessarily method acting, but just very like backstory and all of these. Do you think that makes a difference when it comes to auditioning and booking a role and just being on film?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. I think that there's a take no prisoners, no nonsense person that will go to an audition and do what it is that's asked for and then leave the room and move forward. Yeah, I believe in that. I really do. I don't get jazzed about actors that are doing this as a hobby. Okay, I mean, it kind of
breaks my soul when
it,
people are like,
does,
I want to be an actor, and they're like 25, and I'm like, I've been doing this my entire life. You don't get to do that.
Right, it's like, stop and go home.
Yeah.
So I think that when something is presented, it's like, this is the opportunity that's in front of me. I am going to do this 100%, and then I'm going to forget that I did it because I got to leave the powers that be then in place, to see whether I'm going to book it or not book it.
Right.
The change that's going on in the industry right now, I think, is to it goes back to that branding thing.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I really believe that to have a super active social media presence, that's like, what? I mean, it's like, do I need to have that? Yeah. Because when you walk into a room and you say, yeah, I have 50,000 people that give a shit that I ate this donut, I mean, that's like a really good thing.
Yeah.
Because on your coattails are this Insta audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's such a crazy
And so
change.
those are crazy things. So it is not just a matter of being talented or being trained. It's about, and again, do I have this audience that's following along with me, or do I have this specific product that is always in my hand when I'm doing stuff, and can I tap into them and have them again, increase my audience participation?
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things, it's just like, this is like big,
Yeah.
it's bigger than what you used to think, where you, again, as I said, long time ago, where you had your headshot up on a wall, and I was going, oh, this guy would be good, right? It's not that stuff anymore. It's like the whole entire package and presentation. It involves a whole lot more work. It involves being able to go wherever that opportunity is. I mean, the opportunity is self-tape. Now, you know what? I can actually jump on a plane and get out there, The thing is that big agencies, those like big 5 agencies, right? They get scripts and they're like, put this person in it and put this person and put this person in it, right? And they go, oh, okay, like, well, put this one, this one, this one, this one, right? So they're in an entirely different business than what we're in.
Right.
Okay, our business is who has kick-ass talent and then work your ass off to get them to get to that point in time. Okay, so you've got agents in LA, right, who are like handed the opportunity to like make this thing work, right? And then you have these other people who are not there, who are given the opportunity to take an incredibly talented person and move it so that they can do their thing.
Yeah.
Totally different businesses, and so interesting. And I would love to have the opportunity, like if I was at a desk at CAA or UTA or William Morris, I think they would be like loving me, because I have the passion and to do this, to make these people absolutely, to give them somebody who is just like passionately in love with this business.
Yeah.
I want that so bad. That's like my dream. That is really, really my dream. Just a little desk. I don't even need like a big, I don't even need an office. I just need like a desk. And I don't know if I want to move to LA. I think I want to move to New York.
Oh, I want to move. Let's go. I'm ready.
Let's go to New York. Are we going to it?
I'm ready. I'm so ready to go to New York.
And just for the audience, we did it. We finished the bottle of 2014 Wendling.
So good.
So, isn't this good?
So good, yeah. A Pinot Noir is my favorite.
Oh my God, I know. And this one is so delicious.
What is something new, aside from your book that you're doing, which I'm so excited about? What's something new that you have done recently?
Okay, something new that I've done recently is I'm blogging with a series of articles which are called Tammy Talks. And the Tammy Talks are available on the Green Agency website. And what they are is I'm going to call it a tutorial. I think that's the best way to say it. But it's how to do what you're doing better. And things to pay attention to, things to notice, trends that are going on in the industry, and things to be cognizant of, to pay attention to.
One of my favorite ones was manifesting the career you want or something.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that one.
Yeah.
I thought that one was so good.
Because I believe in that. I believe like if you throw it out there, and if you have it on your bathroom mirror, that every single day I want this, you're going to look at it every single day and go forward with it. I like the Tammy Talks. I'm excited about them. I spend a lot of time writing them and sending them out to the clients of the Green Agencies so that they hopefully read them and do a little backstory homework, and say, you know what, yeah, I do need new headshots, or I do need I need to update my resume, or I need to take a look at the reels that I'm putting out, or the pitches that I'm putting out, because I see it from my side, and they need to also see it from my side.
Yeah.
So so that's what's going on.
I'll put that on the We're So Young website as
Oh, the
well,
Tammy
so that you
Talks.
can, so it can like go directly. So, and what's something new that you want to try?
Well, I want to try doing a YouTube. I don't want to call it it's a YouTube program.
Yeah.
A YouTube program, and I want to have a conversation with actors that are clients of mine that have had wonderful experiences on set. What happens when you show up on set? What happens when you land on the airplane? What happens when you break for lunch? So I want to have that as a YouTube experience for actors to see what happens. What is your day like? What does that experience look like? How do you prepare for that? So I'm excited about it, and I think that it will be an actor's studio type format.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that something like that will work out well. I
Yeah.
don't know what to name it.
I like Tammy Talks.
You do?
I really do.
Or the Fame Strategy. It's pretty good.
Yeah, Fame Strategy is pretty good.
I
Fame
don't
Strategy,
know.
I think in the grand scheme of things, Fame Strategy, but like, I mean, you can hashtag both of them in your.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I kind of just want to like hashtag, like, hashtag, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Yeah. It's the world we live in. It's like hashtags
Well,
everything.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
This has
so
been
much
really
for doing
fun.
this. I'm so excited. I can't wait for everybody to hear. I'm so happy. Thanks again for listening to the We're So Young podcast. Like what you've been hearing? Help spread the word. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rate, review, and tell your friends about We're So Young. And don't forget to follow us on our socials, at We're So Young Podcast on Instagram, at We're So Young Pod on Twitter, and We're So Young Podcast on Facebook. Let's all get inspired to try new things together. That's it for now. Tune in on the 1st and the 15th of each month for new episodes. Until then, step out of your comfort zones and try new things, because we're so young.